Shut up, you ugly. God, that felt so good to say about Stephen Miller. And that had to feel good to the person that was running the DNC's X account when they posted, "Shut up, you ugly in response to Stephen Miller's absolutely bonkers tweet about James Talarico. Miller, who looks like an adult toy that you'd find on Temu, looked at the cisgendered 8th generation Texan, the Bible-quoting former school teacher, and decided that his devastating attack, the haymaker, was to call him transgender. Which is obviously not true. It's also not an insult. Which means Stephen Miller wound up, swung as hard as his little arms could swing, and hit himself directly in the face. All of it coming after Texas just had its GOP Senate runoff, and Ken Paxton, a man who's been impeached and indicted enough times to qualify for a discount card, beat longtime Senator John Cornyn. So, obviously the Democrats put up a post promoting their nominee, James Talarico, and Miller, frightened to death of Talarico, the White House Deputy Chief, Stephen Miller, and full-time architect of human misery, quote tweeted it, saying, "The Democrats made history in Texas by nominating their first transgender Senate candidate." And yeah, Talarico's not transgender, and of course, Miller meant it as a slur. To this guy, transgender is the worst thing you can call a person. And it's just another window into the soul or lack thereof of a man whose entire career is built on finding the most vulnerable people in our country and blaming them for the pathetic nature of his very existence. And by the way, trans candidates, they've won elections. So trans is not the insult. It never is the insult that Stephen Miller thinks it is. But then after all of that, a miracle occurred. Someone woke up the official Democratic Party Twitter account, which usually responds to stuff like this with a strongly worded fundraising email and a sad violin emoji, posted back 5 words, "Shut up, you ugly Wow. I love that. Was it a little rough around the edges? Sure. Was it very presidential and formal? Not at all. But did every single person who has spent years watching Stephen Miller get a little kick of serotonin? Absolutely. The DNC finally punched back. My God, somebody please make sure that we are not getting punked here. Holy crap. And then Talarico, his own response was even sharper. When they tried to paint him as some out-of-touch coastal vegan, he said he's been eating barbecue since before Ken Paxton's first indictment. Before his first indictment, the man clocked Paxton's rap sheet like a fitness tracker. And of course, the boss couldn't let his goblins have all the fun, though. Trumpty Dumpty climbed onto Truth Social to add his own contribution, calling Talarico Alfred E. Newman and the worst Texas candidate I've ever seen. Alfred E. Newman, the Mad Magazine kid, he's a grown man who looks like he's a sunburned thumb wearing a flag pin, is out there doing what me worry jokes and referencing a character that was most popular, 60 years ago? It's time for bed, Grandpa. But because he's smart, Talarico had the last laugh in all of this. And after all the name calling, he's on CBS, which, by the way, is Trump's latest attempt at state-run media, and said this.
And Ken Paxton, your opponent, has taken to calling you Talafrico.
Well, I think if Ken Paxton is worried about freaks, he should stop giving Epstein-style sweetheart deals to pedophiles. You know, this is the guy who just released Adam Hoffman from jail, an admitted child rapist, after one of Ken Paxton's wealthy lawyer friends got involved in the case. Ken Paxton even kept him off the sex offender registry. Adam Hoffman was supposed to serve 25 years to life, but instead he served less than a month. As of this week, he's now back on our streets because of Ken Paxton's corruption. Ken Paxton is the most corrupt politician in America, and it is costing Texans. It's endangering our children, and it must end. I think the Epstein class has no place in Texas.
Yep, Paxton, the GOP candidate, is a guy with 16 indictments. The other side's candidate is a Christian former teacher who quotes scripture and actually practices it. And then you have the GOP's entire bench of attacks are things like, he's secretly trans, he doesn't eat meat, He looks like a cartoon, and they call him Talarico, and that's it. That's all they have. I cannot wait to see the bloodbath that is Talarico running all over Ken Paxton in Texas. And make sure you subscribe. Get all of the notifications, all of them, so that we can keep score while MAGA finally learns what a real clapback feels like.